The giant squid once sounded like something pulled from old sailor stories, an exaggerated sea monster blamed for storms and disappearances. With enormous eyes and trailing tentacles, it seemed closer to myth than biology. But the giant squid, Architeuthis dux, is a documented deep-sea cephalopod, measured from real specimens and filmed alive in its natural habitat. In 2012, researchers captured the first footage of a living giant squid in the deep ocean near Japan, confirming details long inferred from carcasses and remains found in whale stomachs. Giant squid inhabit deep pelagic waters, often hundreds of meters below the surface, where sunlight fades and pressure rises dramatically. In these depths, temperatures are low and food is unpredictable. Their massive eyes, among the largest in the animal kingdom, help detect faint light and the bioluminescent glow of movement nearby, including predators like sperm whales. They are not invincible apex monsters. They are highly specialized survivors, adapted to darkness, immense pressure, and scarce resources. Their biology reflects the demands of a world few humans will ever see. Giant squid are primarily associated with the mesopelagic and bathypelagic zones of the open ocean, most commonly between about 300 and 1,000 meters deep, though some records suggest they may range beyond those depths. This region is often called the ocean's twilight zone. Sunlight diminishes rapidly as you descend, and by several hundred meters, illumination is faint and blue shifted. Below that, darkness dominates. There are no plants growing at these depths because photosynthesis requires sunlight, and without it, primary production does not occur locally. As depth increases, environmental conditions become more extreme. Temperature drops compared to surface waters, and hydrostatic pressure rises steadily, about 1 atmosphere for every 10 meters. At 1,000 meters, pressure reaches roughly 100 atmospheres, or about 100 times the pressure at sea level. Such conditions can disrupt the physiology of animals adapted to shallow water, affecting buoyancy, gas-filled structures, and neural function. Giant squid are not surface creatures that occasionally dive deep. Their soft bodies lack gas-filled swim bladders, reducing problems with compression, and their physiology is suited to cold, high-pressure pelagic habitats. Evidence from specimens, predator interactions, and deep-sea observations indicates that they are native to this environment. They are not visitors to the deep ocean. They are products of it. The first time scientists carefully measured a giant squid's eye, it became clear this was not simply a scaled-up version of a shallow water squid. It was an animal shaped by the deep sea. Giant squid possess some of the largest eyes in the animal kingdom, reaching diameters of up to about 27 centimeters, or more than 10 inches. That size is not accidental gigantism. It reflects optical adaptation to extremely low light conditions. In the mesopelagic and bathypelagic zones, sunlight is minimal or absent. However, bioluminescence is common. Many deep-sea organisms produce flashes or glows of light for communication, camouflage, or predation. Large eyes can gather more photons, increasing sensitivity in dim environments. Modeling research has suggested that very large eyes provide a particular advantage in detecting large moving objects at distance, especially when those movements disturb bioluminescent organisms in the surrounding water. One of the giant squid's main predators is the sperm whale. A large predator moving through dark water may trigger bioluminescent reactions, creating subtle signals that sensitive eyes could detect earlier than smaller eyes would allow. This offers a potential survival advantage. Those massive eyes are not ornamental. They function as long-range detection systems in a habitat where light is scarce, and seeing first can determine survival. Many deep-sea fish possess dense tissues, reduced gas spaces, or reinforced skeletal elements to cope with high-pressure environments. Giant squid, however, follow a different structural strategy. They are soft-bodied cephalopods with no rigid internal skeleton and no gas-filled swim bladder. Their tissues are composed largely of water, and their buoyancy is supported in part by ammonium-rich fluids within their bodies, which are less dense than seawater. This composition reduces problems associated with compression at depth. Hydrostatic pressure increases steadily as depth rises, but pressure itself does not crush solid or liquid tissues in the way it collapses gas-filled spaces. Animals that rely on air cavities or gas bladders can experience severe distortion when descending. Giant squid avoid that vulnerability because they contain very little compressible gas. Rather than resisting pressure with rigid reinforcement, their bodies allow internal and external pressure to equalize. This flexibility helps maintain structural integrity in the deep pelagic environment. While they are not immune to environmental stress, their soft construction aligns with life in high-pressure habitats. In the deep sea, extreme rigidity can become a liability if it traps compressible spaces. For giant squid, structural flexibility is not weakness. It is an adaptation to living, where pressure is constant and immense. One of the most unusual adaptations in giant squid is chemical rather than structural. Analyses of deep sea squids, including Architeuthis ducks, have shown that their tissues contain elevated concentrations of ammonium ions, often in the form of ammonium chloride. This compound is less dense than seawater. By incorporating it into body fluids, the squid reduces its overall density and approaches neutral buoyancy. Neutral buoyancy means the animal can remain suspended in the water column without constant active swimming. Many shallow water fish rely on gas-filled swim bladders to regulate buoyancy, but gas compresses under pressure and becomes inefficient at great depths. Giant squid lack swim bladders entirely. Instead, chemical buoyancy provides a solution that functions even under extreme hydrostatic pressure. In the deep ocean, food availability can be irregular. Prey items may be widely spaced, and energy must be budgeted carefully. Continuous swimming would require significant metabolic expenditure. By remaining neutrally buoyant, giant squid conserve energy while waiting for opportunities to hunt or while avoiding predators. This strategy reflects the constraints of deep pelagic life. Energy efficiency is not a minor advantage at depth. It is fundamental to survival in an environment where resources are limited and conditions are physically demanding. Popular imagination often portrays giant squid as relentless, high-speed predators roaming the deep ocean. However, available evidence suggests a more energy-conserving strategy. In the deep pelagic environment, where prey can be sparse and unpredictable, constant pursuit would be metabolically costly. Observations of related large squids and anatomical analysis of Architeuthis ducks indicate they are likely ambush-oriented or slow-moving predators rather than continuous chasers. Giant squid possess 8 arms and 2 much longer feeding tentacles. The tentacles can extend rapidly to seize prey, ending in clubs lined with powerful suction cups and sharp chitinous hooks. These hooks are well documented in recovered specimens and in remains found within sperm whale stomachs. Scarring patterns on sperm whales also provide indirect evidence of defensive interactions with large squids. Rather than swimming long distances at high speed, giant squid likely conserve energy by maintaining position in the water column and striking when prey comes within reach. This strategy aligns with their neutral buoyancy and deep sea physiology. A rapid extension strike allows them to capture fish or other squid efficiently without prolonged pursuit. In a habitat where food is limited and energy budgets are tight, restraint is adaptive. In the deep sea, unnecessary movement can cost more than it yields. The deep ocean is not a constant feeding ground. Unlike sunlit surface waters or coral reefs, it depends heavily on material drifting down from above. Marine snow, a steady fall of dead plankton, fecal pellets, and organic debris, forms an important energy source for many deep-sea organisms. Large active predators are present, but they are far less concentrated than in shallow coastal ecosystems. Energy availability is lower, and prey encounters can be unpredictable. So, how does an animal as large as the giant squid persist in this environment? Part of the answer lies in metabolic balance. Cold temperatures at depth naturally slow biochemical reactions, reducing overall metabolic demand. Giant squid are not built for sustained high-speed pursuit. Their neutral buoyancy and soft-bodied design suggest energy-efficient movement rather than constant activity. While precise growth rates remain debated, studies of statolith rings and stable isotopes indicate that giant squid may grow relatively quickly compared to many deep sea fishes, yet still within a framework shaped by limited resources. Rapid growth early in life does not require continuous feeding. It requires successful feeding. In this system, survival does not depend on frequent meals. It depends on capturing enough prey to offset long intervals between opportunities. Efficiency, not abundance, defines life at depth. The giant squid's most well-documented adversary is the sperm whale. Direct observations of their encounters are rare, but strong indirect evidence exists. Many sperm whales display distinctive circular scars on their skin that closely match the size and spacing of giant squid suction cups. In turn, giant squid beaks, hard, chitinous mouthparts that resist digestion, have been recovered from sperm whale stomach contents. These findings confirm a long-standing predator-prey relationship in deep ocean waters. This interaction represents one of the largest known battles in the deep pelagic zone. Sperm whales can dive to depths exceeding 1,000 meters and hunt using powerful echolocation clicks to detect prey in darkness. Their biosonar allows them to locate animals without relying on vision, even in near total absence of light. For giant squid, survival in this environment likely depends on more than size. Sensitivity to water movement, subtle changes in pressure, and possibly the ability to remain motionless or positioned outside peak hunting depths may reduce detection risk. Soft-bodied construction and neutral buoyancy could also minimize unnecessary movement that might reveal their presence. Giant squid do not simply hunt in darkness. They inhabit it strategically. In a world where their primary predator navigates by sound, remaining undetected can be as important as capturing prey. In much of the deep ocean, temperatures remain near 2-4°C. At these temperatures, biochemical reactions slow, nerve impulses travel more slowly, and muscle contraction becomes less efficient compared to warmer environments. Cold water presents a physiological challenge for active predators, particularly those that rely on rapid movement to capture prey. Despite these constraints, giant squid are capable of coordinating swift extension strikes with their elongated feeding tentacles. Although Architeuthis dux itself has rarely been observed alive in detail, research on related large oceanic squids shows that cephalopods possess highly developed nervous systems for invertebrates. Their brains are relatively large, with complex lobes dedicated to sensory integration and motor control. Squid also use giant axons, large diameter nerve fibers that allow faster signal transmission to coordinate rapid jet propulsion and precise arm movements. In cold deep sea conditions, maintaining effective neuromuscular coordination is essential. A feeding opportunity may be brief, and prey encounters may be infrequent. Missing a strike does not simply mean trying again moments later, it could mean an extended period without food. Efficient neural processing and controlled, accurate tentacle deployment help maximize success when opportunities arise in an environment where energy is limited and competition remains constant. For centuries, the giant squid was known primarily from indirect evidence: washed-up carcasses, damaged specimens caught in fishing gear, and the indigestible beaks recovered from sperm whale stomachs. Sailor accounts fueled myth, but hard scientific documentation remained limited. It was not until 2004 that researchers captured the first confirmed photographs of a live giant squid in its natural deep-sea environment, using a baited camera system deployed off Japan. In 2012, a Japanese-led expedition filmed high-quality video of a living giant squid at depth, providing unprecedented footage of the animal in motion. That timeline is revealing. Despite global exploration of shallow and mid-depth oceans, direct observation of giant squid proved extraordinarily difficult. They do not regularly approach the surface, and they are not known to interact with divers. Unlike many midwater organisms, they do not produce obvious bioluminescent displays that make them easy to track visually. Instead, they inhabit remote pelagic zones that require specialized submersibles or deep-sea camera systems to access. Their relative invisibility is not mystery by design, but by environment. They live in ocean layers that humans rarely visit due to pressure, darkness, and logistical limits. In many ways, their survival strategy includes simply occupying a habitat that remains largely beyond routine human reach. The deep ocean has long been considered one of the most stable environments on Earth. At depths of several hundred to over 1,000 meters, temperatures typically remain cold and relatively constant. There is no day-night cycle in the usual sense because sunlight does not penetrate far enough to create meaningful illumination. Seasonal variation, so pronounced in surface waters, is greatly reduced in deeper layers. For organisms adapted to this zone, environmental predictability has been a defining feature over evolutionary time. Giant squid evolved within that relatively stable framework. Their physiology, buoyancy mechanisms, and sensory systems reflect life in cold, dark, and pressure-dominated conditions. However, deep-sea stability is not absolute. Climate-driven warming of surface waters can influence deeper layers through changes in circulation and stratification. Warmer water holds less dissolved oxygen, and shifts in ocean currents may alter the vertical transport of nutrients and prey organisms. Because direct observations of giant squid remain limited, scientists do not yet have comprehensive population data or a clear understanding of their resilience to rapid environmental change. Much of what is known comes from stranded specimens, predator evidence, and rare deep-sea encounters. That uncertainty is striking. An animal of such size and ecological significance remains only partially understood, reminding us how much of the deep ocean still resists detailed study. The giant squid survives in one of the harshest habitats on Earth, not by resisting the deep sea, but by conforming to it. Rather than evolving rigid skeletal structures, it remains soft-bodied, allowing internal and external pressure to equalize at great depth. Instead of relying on constant swimming, it achieves near-neutral buoyancy through low-density tissues containing ammonium ions, conserving energy in a habitat where food is unpredictable. Its enormous eyes are adapted for dim conditions, optimized to detect faint light and subtle movement rather than bright color or long-distance surface vision. This is not an animal built for speed in open, sunlit water. It is built for darkness, cold, and high pressure. It moves deliberately, strikes efficiently, and conserves resources wherever possible. Even its likely ambush-style feeding strategy reflects patience over pursuit. The giant squid is not a chaotic sea monster. It is a deep-sea specialist shaped by consistent environmental pressures over evolutionary time. Its traits, soft tissue construction, energy-efficient buoyancy, sensitive vision, are solutions to specific physical constraints. The deep ocean does not produce giants at random. It produces organisms precisely tuned to survive in a stable yet extreme environment that most surface-adapted life could never tolerate. The giant squid isn't a monster of the deep. It's a reminder of what life becomes when survival demands extremes. In a world without sunlight, under crushing pressure and endless darkness, vision became enormous. Bodies became resilient, and silence became strategy. Nothing there exists by accident. Every feature is an answer to a hostile environment that the giant squid didn't grow immense by chance. It grew immense because the deep ocean required it.